and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on wrestle culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review last night's Dynamite. Sid, your thoughts?
My thoughts, and I'm going to have to probably repeat this quite often throughout, a less frustrating and stupid show than last week. Some bold storytelling decisions that I'm really quite into, or not, but whatever. Bold, different, maybe necessary. Unwatchable almost through the atmosphere. Like, it was like watching a 2019 Raw with slightly better wrestling. That's a stupid comparison. In terms of atmosphere, though, this is one of the least. This is anti-2021, anti the feeling. Like, jeez, it was just like, it was real sad. There was like bits of wrestling where the dissonance between the stuff, I was like, oh, Christ, that's popping off. I'm really into this. And I was like, oh, nobody else is, though. I'll sit by me, right? It was just like, I couldn't get excited because there was just no, that swell, that frisson, that nothing like that existed. So I was like, I want to get into it. I can't.
Would you say the phrase, nobody cares, almost?
Yeah, like, we could say things like all-time low for investment, and it might seem hyperbolic, but then last night, at least, you know, this is the thing as well. Like, next week could just be a hot crowd. It could be a great.
I'd rather, you know what? I would rather have had Austin Gunn and Austin Gunn alone in that front row than that crowd last night.
There was, so you've got at the moment an obvious lack of, but the only financial AEW investment AEW has got is the one that matters, which is the thing that's going to keep it alive. But in terms of the one that matters for your viewing experience, it's just not there. So there's no big crowds other than for the pay-per-view. So you're not seeing financial investment in a Dynamite or a Collision. But then now the people are investing financially are kind of being selective of when they invest emotionally, which is their right as a paying customer as well. And on this show, there was almost none. So then you're like, well, what creative investment can I make as a viewer, which is minimal, because, and this show was an example of it. I'm with Sidge, there was a couple of booking decisions I liked, but there was still like various creative fires failing to be put out everywhere you looked, which damages your own investment in it. Just low investment at like the worst time of year for it, because they're about to go into the Continental Classic, which will satisfy a core quotient of AEW's hardest hardcores.
We'll get worked by it.
A time of year where traditionally like things go a little bit colder anyway. It's just like, this was like making you like wish for like a Christmas shutdown, wasn't it, or something like that? And wrestling will be the answer for that period instead. In the run up to World's End, wrestling will be the answer, for better and worse in some cases. But it was another bleak one.
It was just bleak, real sad.
Same on X in the morning. I don't know if everyone's immediately jumped onto Blue Sky or whatever, but you have a look after the fact, and it's like curated feeds and all that, notwithstanding, just like
chat,
no conversation, no nothing. It's like, I remember when you say 2019 Raw, I remember when that happened to Raw, and that was odd of a Tuesday.
Well, there were two things I saw popping off on socials I was enjoying this morning, but we'll maybe get to that later on in the show.
We need four things. What I was also going to say is that we often talk about, well, who's to blame for a bad crowd? And we often will say, like, me and Hamflett have got like a pet peeve of crowd sucks. I know the product usually sucks when the crowd sucks. That's usually how it goes. And maybe they are sort of reaping what they sow by doing some really uneven creative that feels feckless, and the fact that they've apologized for it so much, and there's a lack of trust there and just a lack of excitement. So maybe the bad booking or the uneven booking for however long it's been going on is the problem. Sometimes crowds, it's Connecticut. They often have this when they're in the belly of the beast. They often have this problem. It's never been a hot crowd. Like, it's like the Long Island. There's a few select cities that are just known for not being particularly enthused. But by the same token, this Pittsburgh used to be among them. And watch the fourth ever Dynamite. When it's cooking, they will eat But I'll tell you now, that crowd probably is as bad as the booking. Just a dreadful night for vibes.
There was no need to, like, they could have a bit of a moment, and, like, it is a bit of a no-no when a wrestler gets the town wrong, but they actively went and killed a segment after that. It wasn't just a pop and then dickhead, you got it wrong. It was, we're going to hijack the whole thing now. Like, and that sort of...
And it overshadowed Bobby Lashley.
Exactly, yeah. It was kind of the worst thing for it to happen too. But, see, I think that these things are related. I've been in those crowds where the want to protest kind of overwrites everything else because you're bored, or you're just not feeling that serviced by your chosen form of entertainment, that it becomes more fun to get in on something that extends to, like, your football team having an awful day. People immediately go to gallows humor, right?
Yeah.
And it's just going horribly wrong. And then at a wrestling show, I think the version of that is a protest vote. And a lot of that is sometimes done in fun, like crowds, like Bizarro World, or whatever WWE used to call it. Funny you don't hear that anymore. Like, strange how that's not brought up now that fans are just receptive to the product. Like, again, it's like people acting in herds in order to just have fun with something. And in this case, like, that particular protest came across very negatively on TV. It's like, yeah, you got the town name wrong. Have fun with it for a second and then move on. But for many of those people, it was just like, oh, we're actually having a bit of a laugh for 5 minutes. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I can't really hold that against you. You paid your money.
Yeah.
Like,
No messing about at the start of this show, though. Straight into the action. Page and Cage, Christian Cage and Hangman Page, that is, taking on Switchblade Jay Watt and Juice Robinson. Back and forth early on. Robinson gets sent outside. Oh, I should mention the rest of the patriarchy was there with Christian Cage. Get well soon to Kill Switch, genuinely. But also at ringside, there was Kip Sabian, the newest member. There was Nick Wayne, and there was Nick Wayne's mom, who's got it going on. And they get involved at one point. Juice Robinson gets nailed in the...
Literally, David Rentley went on to get it. Like, you stopped yourself and went backwards.
Yeah.
Covered it up. And you missed that.
Juice Robinson got attacked by Nick Wayne on the outside at one point.
I love how in other, like, proper jobs. Oh, shit, bugger. I forgot to file that report. Oh man. There's that form that I forgot to fill in. I forgot to say that, Nick Wayne's MILF Mom's got large breasts. And that's Wilborn.
Whew, caught it. So he gets attacked on the outside, then it goes to, repeats itself. Juice Robinson's on the outside, and Nick Wayne sort of sizing him up. But then Hook appears on the front row and drags Wayne over the railing. They brawl to the back. That allows Robinson to hit a neck breaker on the floor as Christian Cage looks all confused. Hot tag to Jay Watt, who fires off some chops and punches, tries for a back suplex. Page floats over, but it's his bad knee. So that allows Jay White to hit a dragon screw, hits a DDT, tries it on Cage, counters into a kill switch. White spins out of that, though, and hits a DDT. There's a knee breaker and a brainbuster from White to Page. Robinson gets a near fall. Cage pulls Juice outside, but eats a right hand of God. Page hits White with a springboard lariat, and Robinson hit an avalanche fall-away slam crotched in the corner. White hit cut off a buckshot and hit a flatliner.
I don't think I'd have to press this button on this podcast, but...
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Cage wants kill switch. Hand of God from Robinson. Page gets hit with a sleeper suplex. There's a Blade Runner into the barricade on Cage. Robinson fires off some shots, looks for Juice's loose, but Mother Wayne distracts the ref long enough to allow Kip Sabian to just nail Robinson with the world title thing. I want to say clipboard, it's not that. And that allows Page to hit a dead eye for the 1-2-3.
This is sad, man. Like, there was the sequence that was in and like not the friggin' Rainmaker, the buckshot duck into the flatliner was in and around a sequence where, like, the apparent big lively explosion of counters was going to happen, and, like, they were so well performed. Like, the timing and the pacing and just the sequencing of this sort of series of counters was theoretically electrifying, because not only was it so quick, and the sort of the tag team match genre breaking down lends itself to that all action chain of events where it's like, not only is it bang, 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 but somehow in those spaces between the, like, if you imagine it like it's a beats per minute thing of bang, 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 So you got the excitement, but somehow in those tiny gaps, you still get a tiny bit of struggle, the sense that it's not too choreographed, that they're sort of trying to fight out of it, but they're too quick and their minds are too sharp and just this wonderful turbo chess. And then no one gives a shit. It's like, oh, Christ. It's one of those when you know that when that tone and that atmosphere is set from the start, when you have that wonderful TV match opener structurally, conceptually, and then you get the excitement and the strategy just in perfect lockstep, and it's great, and no one cares. You're like, oh, why am I going to watch the rest of this show if I didn't have to, sort of thing. You could just, if I was not reviewing it, I would get into it, go, oh, there's just no atmosphere, it's so flat. I think, is there any characters that I want to hear from realistically, or could I just catch up online with the excerpts? I'll just do that instead. It's so bleak watching it, man. I really felt sympathy. I felt sympathy for the wrestlers here because they were wrestling out of their skin, trying to get it to happen, and it just, wrestling needs crowds.
Yeah, maybe, I wouldn't say this normally, but like maybe sometimes AEW can't win, and it is just a case of when you're cold, because I think like both me and Sidge simultaneously just adored the first Jay White Hangman Page match, and then have since thought, this Jay White babyface thing just cannot and will not click ultimately. I feel in the same way about a lot of these AEW stories. The John Moxley one springs to mind, but Jay White is another where it's like, this is absolutely the right thing to do, 100% of the way, go for it in a promotion that is functioning the way it should, and it's not. So the Jay White thing is going to fail, and this match was maybe evidence of that, because like what more could they have done in that sequence in particular? And I can picture the spots you're on about. Like Jay White was like rolling it back to like when he was a friggin' white meat babyface in 2016 Ring of Honor, with those like just that sequence of like dragon screw leg.
Oh, God, there's loads to love about this.
And the boot that he was catching to do it looked like it was trying to kick him in the stomach. The whole point about clotheslines. So, like, every bit of that was perfect. It was so clean, and it was so, again, like, he was just moving so fast. It was, dare I even say it, like, working like a, you know how WWE likes their baby faces to fire up? Just that systemic way.
It's better than that.
Yeah, well, you better bounce off that canvas, and you better sort of, like, send that heel packing into the hills. That sort. Jay White was even doing that. Like, he was like looking for the back row. Like, every bit of it was perfect. It's like, you are just going to lock in all the ways a babyface to get this over. Them as a tag team as well. It's like, well, Juice is taking care of business on the floor. So now, check this out. Like, bang, 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 bang. Yeah, nobody gives a toss. Like, your territory's freezing cold. None of your characters are over. Nobody's connecting. This is how it goes when you're really in the, like, the trenches, ultimately, and business is down. This is what's happening. This is, you know, like, it's sort of new generation-y, like, Brett and Sean and Razor had them typically. The crowds were small but loud, so it's maybe not quite the same, but the work is really fighting for itself. And like
I think it's like a generational thing as well. Like if you go back, and every now and then I'll go back and think I'm gonna treat myself to a 2000 Nitro, and I get the same, like, just to say, like, some so bad it's good, weird. Like I just want to laugh at something. I want to point and laugh at something, and it's sort of got this nostalgic glow at the same time. So whack it on. The same things always strike me. One, I cannot deal with this.
Yeah.
Two, something really mean-spirited happens before or just after the stupid nonsense that you can sort of laugh at. Three, even Nitro crowds don't fall flat like a modern crowd. And it's not just AEW. No. WWE has this as well.
Everyone's got phones now.
Everyone's got phones. It was a louder time in general. You cannot watch good wrestling on mute. It just defeats the object entirely, and that's what it felt like last night.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. That's the thing.
Yeah, the action and the actual work was really, really, really impressive.
Perfect sales pitch for the Page White rematch.
I know.
On pay-per-view. Like, buy the show for more of this is how it should always work. And they've done it. Job done. And no gains. Like, it's when you're cold.
We go backstage, and Renee Paquette is outside Mercedes'
Mone's
locker room to ask about her match at Full Gear against Chris Statlander. And Mercedes scolds her for even asking a question. She says, Naked, hello to your CEO. She
That's what she said.
tells off Camille, you stupid every time for dropping my coat. Drops her coat, tells her to put it away. The what do you call it? Vehicular homicide.
Yes.
The attempted vehicular homicide last week happened because Camille can't drive. And Camille leaves to put the coat away or whatever. And there's Statlander in the background. And Mone shouts for Camille. And then get into it. And then in the end, they go through the wall as Statlander tackles them to close out his thoughts on this.
Here's the noise I made, right?
Ooh, I missed this.
Here's the noise I made when watching this segment. Off.
Paper thin, wasn't it? They've never been a great props company.
Just in case you missed it. Off. So the reason why I went, is because rather than just have Statlander appear, I thought the blocking of this was slightly more thoughtful than my new biggest pet peeve. To be fair, it's been one of my biggest pet peeves forever, but it's what I've been really hammering of late, of all wrestlers embroiled in the feud magically appear next to one another in backstage segments, whether they're interrupting interviews or whether they are just sort of like in an alleyway or some kind of dark corridor. They're always around. It's weird. I like the idea. It's kind of dumb as it was. Is represented by Mercedes Mone being in the foreground and walking into shot in the background was Chris Statlander. The idea being she hasn't materialized as if by magic next to her. She is stalking her to get her bloody vengeance. I just like that little extra step that they took to make it look slightly less utterly and totally contrived. Then they build a cardboard wall for the express purpose of very conveniently falling through it. How fake do you want this stuff to look? How much do you value my intelligence? Not enough, goddammit. And I've been through this before. Decent vocabulary, pretty sharp sense of humor, articulate, some might even say insightful. Otherwise, I'm so dumb, right? I don't have a sense of direction. I don't have a practical bone in my body. I cannot really problem solve. I don't do maths or science. I cannot do DIY. My mind...
Cannot cook.
Shut up, man. My mind, like everybody else's in different ways, is good at some things and good at the other. I don't really want to put across, God, I'm too clever for this American TV wrestling nonsense. I am. And I like to think that everybody is.
Yeah.
You cannot tell. I mean, even Drainmaker is thinking, oh, that wall's a bit fake. I mean, it's, oh my God, she fell through bricks. She fell through bricks! All caps. That's probably how the tweet goes, but in reality...
It's the same brick company that NXT employed last week.
Yeah.
There's no
pathetic.
one
Rubbish.
with a brain in their head, even a bad and small one, could look at this and think, bloody hell, that's got to hurt. Getting blasted through a wall like that. The wall exists, not in real life, but purely to contrive this sequence of events. I hate it so much. I think we need a radical overhaul of how backstage goings-on are presented in wrestling. I used to have this thing, everything backstage is goated. Well, I'm an idiot, because I've been watching AEW for 3 years.
What was the startup thing Jonathan Gresham tried to get on the go? Where, like, would have had none of any of it. Do you remember?
Terminus.
Terminus, that was it, yeah. Like a total overcorrection.
Totally
of
botched
like,
their first show as well.
Yeah, I'm sick of the business. And it was like, we're going to do things a proper way. It was like a mix of sort of like Bloodsport sensibilities, but with like really supremely pure pro wrestling. I would never want to watch that. God damn it, no way. But I think it's quite simple to be able, like, to apply certain like rules and regulations to shows that include a bit of backstage. I really do. I think AEW almost had it at one point, like pre the reintroduction of the babyface bloodline. WWE had it. It's the bloodline that's brought the secret camera back. That little slow zoom on Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa the other week. I like a bit of bobbins, like on my wrestling. I do. I think it's a welcome like break from the action.
It's got to be a different way.
I include it as range. A lot of people don't, and that's fine. This was shit. And it's 2 weeks in a row that it's been shit. And that's the problem as well, because when you become associated with being a bad props foohead, then it's sort of like that's stuck to you forever. We will Chris Statlander and Mercedes Mone could absolutely knock it out of the park when they have their match. Chemistry-wise, it should work. Mercedes Mone's run, not so great, but chemistry-wise, this one should work.
Chris Statlander carries people to their best matches.
Yep. Like
uncarryable, like Camille.
But they are now, and we say this quite a lot, they are working against what's got them there. The memories will be, it's the car and the wall. Like, it's the wall, brother, and the car. Are you dumb and stupid? How was the match? Yeah, pretty good. Like, 3 3/4, like really good, like middle of the pay-per-view. It's not like it's going to open or close it. Middle of the pay-per-view offering. Like, yeah, it was decent actually. Yeah, but it was a wall in the car feed, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. It was a wall in the car feed.
I'm sick of my life.
It's just...
There has to be another way.
Yeah.
Let's revolutionize it. Let's have John Moxley's, rhetoric actually mean something.
What's he doing about this?
What's he doing about this?
What's he doing about this?
I know it's like you can't really say in the parameters of his character, he can't say the fake props that we use in our fake backstage segments are rubbish. Let's do something about those. If there's a concerted attempt to make you think via this sort of meta John Moxley character that the old AEW's coming back for reals with the Z, okay? You cannot do this at the same time and tell me and convince me that it's all going to change and get better.
John Moxley's cute pubes.
Reels. You know what I mean? You cannot tell me that we're doing a hard reset, that the hard work has begun, and that people are going to have to put up or shut up, not up or shut up. It's time to sort of like, let's make these calls into diamonds, all this chat. You cannot do that and tell me that and then do this television at the same time. Otherwise, I simply will not believe you. Pathetic.
Tony Schiavone's in the ring following all this.
F in my wrestling school for that.
Welcomes Will Ospreay.
It's a Bret Hart. It's a Bret Hart quote, and I've always loved it. You get an F in my wrestling school for that.
Brett, I love you, mate, but how'd you get an A in wall bumps at your wrestling school?
An A in what?
Wall bumps. Great bump through the wall. A minus. Get an A.
So Tony Schiavone's in the ring, brings out Will Ospreay, who says...
I wouldn't have hurt the wall.
Yeah. He says there's a lot of...
wall. Didn't leave a mark. Didn't even break it. Oh, wait a minute.
After I broke through that wall, I burst into tears and just said it was the best bump it had ever taken. A+.
Ospreay says there's a lot of questions he wants answers to.
Hogan even said, "That's the wall, brother," and just started weeping.
He advises Tony to leave. He wants to talk with Carl Fletcher, who comes out. He said that Don Callis begged him not to come out by himself.
Why make Tony Schiavone do those steps? Everyone tells him to piss off, heel babyface or otherwise. Can you not just stand there like it's meant to be done and have them hold the microphone in front of their faces as they cut a promo?
This week's Go Away Tony.
Yeah, if you don't want to do that, just don't have Tony Schiavone there.
They're flying close to the sun with Renee as well. They've had like Mercedes do this a few weeks in a row. Like you had the promo later on where she was basically having to like calm Mina Shirakawa down. Calm down. Yeah. Like they're kind of... You're not supposed to make these people feel stupid and insignificant.
Yeah. They're meant to like...
Tony Schiavone, more like Tony Shigoni.
That's the segment title.
Yeah.
This week's Tony Shigoni.
Fletcher, says Don told me to not come out by myself, but unlike you, when you stayed home, I'm out here by myself. But if you lay a finger on me, we're going to make sure that you're out for a lot longer than 3 weeks. Ospreay says, look, I've been in those family meetings. Look, whatever else you got planned, just give it up. And there's a screwdriver. He's pulled it out and he chucks that out there. They talk about Fletcher living in Ospreay's home during the Pando, United Empire, Mark Davis. Fletcher knows Ospreay better than anyone, knows where he lives, where he works out, picks his son up from school, all that. Fletcher said Ospreay always wants to take credit for someone else's success, and Don Callis has opened his eyes to the truth. Ospreay just did all those things for himself, like always. Fletcher says, I'm not a Will Ospreay clone. You're a selfish or a hypocrite. I'm doing exactly what you would have done in this position, though. And Ospreay said, well, pick a lane, mate. Either you're nothing like me, or you're an Ospreay clone. Yes, I stabbed Okada and Omega in the back, but before that, I was a 3-time junior heavyweight champion, 2-time best of the Super Juniors winner. and let's talk about what you've done that's not Aussie Open related. You've done nothing on your own.
Someone has pointed out he's a former title holder in Ring of Honor.
Fletcher said, it's not about that, it's what I'm about to do. I want a match with you at Full Gear. Ospreay says, here's what it's all about. Your 5 minutes of fame on pay-per-view. Look, since I've been here, there's been 4 world champions and none of them could hold a candle to what I can do. He accepts the match, talks about watching Carl Fletcher shave his head with his boy by his side at home, his hand that was numb from the Tiger Driver, and he promised he's going to take it all away from Fletcher at Full Gear, who says, you thought that was bad. It's nothing compared to what I'm going to do to you at Full Gear. Should we pause there? Talk about the promo, because it's all sort of bleeding into each other in a second.
Yes. So take the pause here. My take on all of this was broadly positive. I liked it. Ultimately, I am going to watch this match at Full Gear without merely just thinking, oh yeah, I should be really good at this. Like, I'm quite into the feud. I take it seriously. I kind of believe that they've begun to hate each other. I believe in the characters. ... to an extent. Carl Fletcher, and he gets a pass from me because he's barely been doing this as a featured TV character. I mean, he's been doing this promo stuff and all, like, on these sort of like these long featured segments for all of what, a month, if not less.
Really in at the deep end, isn't it? Yeah.
He has got what I would describe as a shorthand comparison, that Seth Rollins quality, where he's orating the material really well, and he's composed. Every little technical term you can use, diction, cadence, it's all proper. He's not like a Eddie Kingston, CM Punk, where you just buy it, them talking. He's good at playing wrestling promo, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the words aren't leaping off the page.
Yeah, I know the difference between a fantastic promo and a very, very good attempt at a promo, which is what Fletcher does, is that you can imagine one person reading it, rehearsing it on the page. The others, they just say it and you believe that they say it. Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, the best of John Moxley, Eddie Kingston.
Yeah. It's why The Miz has delivered one good promo ever.
Yes.
It's the talking smack. It's why every single other promo.
Yeah, it's that.
And in Fletcher's defense, it could just be a confidence thing. Like, and once he gets used to it.
I've said that. He's been doing it a month. He's been doing it all of a month. Once he starts to really get it, who knows? At the minute, he's in that tier.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ospreay is in the other tier. I don't think he's as good as an Eddie Kingston, Prime MJF, Terry, Dusty, Ric Flair, where it's just them.
Yeah.
You can never imagine them. Even though they did it, Cody Rhodes let that slip. Even though they obviously do practice it, you can't imagine them doing it, and that's the difference. I can't imagine Ospreay practicing it, even though he's not as good as those names that I've mentioned. When he said the line of, I didn't realize my stepson was holding my hand for 5 minutes because of what you've done to me, probably a load of bollocks. It was just that safe version of the Tiger Driver that they do now. In fact, it almost certainly was a load of bollocks, but I believed him saying it. So between the very noble attempt and the just earnest, really good stuff, and the very simple but always effective plotting of this kind of stuff, I'm really into the match more than it's just this, it'll be great. They've done a great match before. So one of the big positives about AEW's current direction is this program.
One thing I took away from this, which I don't know why I've never noticed it before, because they've shared the ring a lot, obviously. I know it's been more sort of action-packed than just sort of standing for, was how big Carl, not just like how big Carl Fletcher is, how big he is compared to Will Ospreay. Like, he's taller than him, but he also feels like he's put on so much muscle recently. He does, like,
you probably wouldn't have noticed that the first time they wrestled on Dynamite.
He's just gone. He's a genuine threat to Ospreay. This is not a weasel who's going to cheat his way into. He could just beat him.
A bit of aura and increasing confidence will do that for you as well, won't it? Yeah, it's maybe this was my favourite thing on the show, probably, and my favourite thing in AEW. It's what I want the most out of wrestling, ultimately. Like, yes, I want the promise of good matches, ideally, but I want to care more about it along the way than I've been given reason to a lot this year. And I think this was mostly like basics done well, which is earnestly what I want more than anything else on a wrestling TV show. They've done a really good job of establishing not just where the beef is now, but a prior relationship that you could buy, not just through what you've seen, but through what you can infer.
Yeah.
And now they're starting to kind of lay it all out there so you don't need to infer it. We knew of a closeness, and to Sidge's point, like illustrating just how close that was, not just with the injury cell, but with the idea, like, so when he said, I didn't know he was holding my hand, I was actually thinking of Will Ospreay's kid holding the hand, Carl Fletcher's hand when he picks him up from school. So they've put those things together as well, you know, and it's just like, this is the bond that you already knew was there, but now it goes beyond wrestling in 6-man tags as part of Aussie Open. It's this personal thing too. I hate to be on a podcast going, come on guys, keep it simple. Yeah, like back to basics and stuff. It's like such an easy sweeping answer when it's never as simple as that. You've got lots of different wrestlers and lots of different slots and lots of different personal and professional politics and wrestlers that might not want to do things. So it can never just be as easy as that. If you could bottle it, that's all they would do over and over again and it would be perfect. But you ideally want as many as possible to feel like this, which is enough reality blended with the fiction and the promise of something decent at the end. Like, you do want most wrestling to go this way, and right now in AEW, this is the best version of that.
Yeah, top three in the three of my 4 gear matches that I'm most looking forward to. This, without question.
I mean, it's an Ospreay match to begin with, but they've added this emotional layer. And I used to be, when AEW was absolutely in its pomp, that Invincible era, I would take something like this and thought, oh, there's not much flair to it. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers in AEW at the minute, and this is simple stuff done really well. And again, Ospreay just has that quality of, I don't think he ever rehearses this. So,
but yeah, this sort of rolls on because, that's when Brian Cage and Lance Archer come out. But Ospreay says, don't worry, I've got some backup as well. And here's Mark Davies and Pair Hair Subs who jump in. A big brawl. And then there's a moment between Mark Davies and Carl Fletcher, a bit of a stare down. Ospreay goes after Fletcher, though, hits a dive. Everyone but Archer brawling. Roderick Strong comes out, nails him with a kendo stick. That triggers their Falls Count Anywhere match, bleeds straight into that, basically, as I say. Shout out to Excalibur. I didn't realise that mask of his has night vision because he was talking about the action. I couldn't see a goddamn thing as they fought through the back. He's like, he's put him through a table. I was like, has he? What's going on? That took us
they hastily turned on the spotlight.
That was to take us to a break. When we come back, Strong gets the upper hand, but Brian Cage shows up again. They want to do that chokeslam, powerbomb, awesome tag team thing that they do. Taven and Bennett show up to make the save, though. Bennett and Cage fight, and Archer nails Taven with a big boot, grabs him for a chokeslam on top of the guardrail. 2 security guards come out. Stop it. I'll chuck him onto you. Thank you very much. He tries to do the same thing to Roderick Strong, but Roddy crotches him. There's a chair chucked in someone's face, and Strong out of nowhere hits a jumping knee over the barricade and gets the 1, 2, 3. MJF, who's seen the whole thing, he's watching live from his lair, is seen, and Strong screams, Max! Full gear, all this ends, he's going to finish his ass. Pause there, because that's about to bleed into something else. Thoughts on the Strong Archer match?
I was underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed by this. I don't think it had that much creativity behind it. Look, yet again, they drew, I would say, in and around 2,900 people. It's the same story every single week. You kind of do this brightly lit carnage where might it go? Am I going that stand? Am I going that stand? No, actually, we have to turn the lights down because there's a lot of empty seats we need to obscure. So let's just go along. Basically, Falls Count in one long straight line. Not anywhere. Like, I found this a little bit baffling, to be honest. Do 5 minutes backstage. You don't need fans backstage. Do 5 minutes of it backstage.
I got excited when they brawl to the back, And then,
I thought the idea would be, the Kingdom come out, but Lance Archer is just simply unstoppable as a monster. You would do that spot that he did with the enhancement guys that time. Lift them up, head smashes through the ceiling. Do some ridiculous stuff backstage.
Somebody else had walls and ceilings already.
Yeah.
They had dibs. That's the reality, innit? Like, we're doing more stuff with them.
It just felt like... No, it didn't feel like a Falls Count Anywhere match, ultimately. I thought with a very limited environment that looked vaguely respectable in terms of this full arena, this capacity crowd. And it was just, it was a match that reminded you of the thing from which you're trying to escape. There's very few people here, and even less give a toss. Action, you can't really sort of, that cool bit with the choke slam before the security intervened and he didn't get bumped on concrete. They did a good job, but I thought it was inherently flawed. It was just very quick. Sorry, I have one more thing popped into my head. How many times is Roderick Strong, this is the third time it's happened, where he has a match against a larger dude kicks his ass for the majority, then seemingly out of nowhere, he just hits a kick on them.
Yeah.
And that's the finish.
I just felt so little for this. I'm making the comparison for an analytical reason here. You just get away with stuff when you're winning, and like freaking Bronson Reed, things are hot right now, and that character is meaningful, and the building goes nuts for it, and it's, it is what it is, and it's Seth Rollins, and you've seen him do everything there is to do, and yet right now this same thing, pretty much like for like, is working. You got like bumps on or towards security, you've got brawling in the same locations. You sort of, if both were on a video game, the video game crowd would make the same noise for both, is what I'm saying. They're broadly speaking, layout-wise, there's not that many differences. It's not got, this didn't have that like really creative, AEW can go that little bit further brand of violence.
Well, WWE went further with it in terms of the Strowman Reed.
Yes.
That match before the actual match.
The car popper spot as well.
Where they got the fan and threw the fan at. That was 50 times better than this.
And it does need atmosphere, and it does need vibe and all of that sort of stuff, and this had none of that going for it, but it also didn't have what used to be kind of an advantage, and this is not one of those advantages. WWE has taken so many from AEW, taken so many of the advantages to, as we were talking about, like a newer crowd that are getting it for the first time and just thinking, cool, this awesome thing WWE's invented. That's kind of what you do with new fans. But AEW, when it comes to violence, can still do what WWE wants most of the time. I know there's exceptions. I think
they've wimped out. I think they've bitched. They've bitched out on telly.
There was certainly nothing here.
On telly, they've bitched out. That's noticeable.
There was a choice made here not to go anywhere near that extra mile. And maybe, because the feud isn't necessarily popping off, you can justify that. But it fell below expectations.
Because I'll forget if I don't ask it now. Before we go any further, what did you think of this strategy of this bleeds into this, that, the Ospreay Fletcher promo leads into Strong Archer, and that leads into Takeshita Cole. Did you like that as a strategy, or what did you think of it all?
You could argue it was contrived.
Tony Khan's just in his 1996 ECW.
Yeah, it's a very ECW pilled thing.
November to remember, November. He's just having a week of it.
This is a pretty ECW development as well. I think he's just, maybe he's got a little bit annoyed by NXT doing ECW. I will show you. A bit contrived.
Yeah.
But as a retention strategy, I guess. Yes, I don't want to talk about it in those terms.
Poor bloody JD Drake's like, I've got a match in a minute.
I mean, we will get to that. But
yeah. So anyway,
bit of flair to it. I can't.
Yeah, really I don't mind.
It made, like you say, contrived as it was, it made sense. It wasn't just like, well, why is that person suddenly immediately coming out? Like, when they did it for a while in WWE, where it'd be like, and that's why I'm going to beat you at the pay-per-view, and then someone would be like, shut up your promo, I've got a match out the ring right now, and you're like, that's a bit harsh to do that. But anyway, Takeshita attacks Roddy Strong after this promo. Adam Cole comes out. I did like the fact that they had the Cole music playing whilst he gets Takeshita out there, so he can still do the thing. Nice. Cole goes for the Panama Sunrise.
Sorry, I will forget this. It's bad, real bad, when you're thinking, right, how can we get Adam Cole a better reaction? Why don't we use the same trick we used with Chris Jericho after World's End?
You mentioned it,
I'm not remotely comparing those situations, and particularly the people involved, just where the characters are at and how over they are.
I hadn't made that comparison, probably because it's Cole and Jericho, and I hadn't put those two people together.
I mean, why would you ever want him?
I was thinking, that's quite a creative solution to a problem that they've had, especially because it looks cool if you kick the guy's ass in time for you to do your cool pose.
Yeah.
The fans weren't responsive to it, so it killed the bit.
That's a good point.
On paper, do that. That's like I
appreciated
that's them sitting down and thinking it through.
I appreciated and was encouraged by the thought.
Yeah.
Just do it for every match. He has to quickly get in some offense.
Boom, crack back on. But nobody came up for it. So
Takeshita nails him with an elbow strike in midair to take us to a break as Cole wanted the Panama Sunrise. When we come back, Cole hits his neck breaker onto the knee, tries to super kick him, but Takeshita turns it into a blue thunder bomb for 2. There's a fire back from Cole with a pump kick and enziguri. Tries to lower the boom, but Takeshita ducked, hit a big elbow, wants a brain buster, but Cole counters into one onto the knee for another 2 count. Tries for Panama Sunrise. Takeshita's like, nah, just look how strong he is. Chucks him around all over the place. There's a massive lariat that turns Cole inside out for a 2 count. Takeshita misses the big knee. Tries for a Takeshita line, but Cole hit a super kick in midair and hits the Panama Sunrise. Drops the knee pad, wants the boom, but Takeshita rolls outside. And the whole thing of like, as he goes after him, the ref can't see this, but Takeshita's slipped on the beautiful diamond ring and nails him with the loaded shot. He gets the 1, 2, 3. MJF, he's seen the whole thing. He's watching live from his lair.
Seen everything.
He's maniacally laughing. Takeshita sneakily. Ref can't see it. There's the diamond ring, just in case you'd missed it. Roderick Strong runs out, tries to attack him, but gets kicked low. Takeshita puts the ring back on to take out him, but Kyle O'Reilly makes the save with the chair. Takeshita celebrates up the ramp, but doesn't see Ricochet, who super kicks him, and Ricochet holds up the international title, whilst O'Reilly helped up Strong. Cole offers a handshake to Cool Kyle, but O'Reilly walks off, staring them down.
A lot of thoughts on this. One, before I forget, right? I hate the lair. The idea that MGF actually inhabits such a place is just a nonsense to me. It is so obvious to literally everyone, and this again underscores the problem that they just treat your intelligence with contempt at times. AEW, and they were the promotion that weren't going to do that. And it pisses me off. It really does. I don't really get that annoyed by things anymore. But that pisses me off, like it really does. A more elegant solution all along, instead of putting him in a villain's lair.
Somebody pointed out that you could see the light shining through the curtains as well.
You could see the light shining through the curtains, and it's meant to be like November and all the rest of it.
It's like Dash.
No one is going to believe that this is an actual real-time reaction, right? So stop doing it and stop treating your audience with contempt, right? Because away from the inability to create new stars and the really sort of abrasive relationship that Vince had with WWE fans, a lot of their problems were people just were tired of having their intelligence insulted. They really were. Yeah. AEW cannot continue to do that anymore. A more elegant solution, right? And people would have known, all right, okay, well, MJF's not present in the arena. But here's a less insulting way of pretending that he is, because I suppose if they're building this match for Full Gear, they should make him feel present in some way. They could have had him at the end of these Adam Cole matches, instead of slurping his wine, being sinister in the lair, played on another part of the MJF character and his interplay with Tony Schiavone, and had him call Tony Schiavone to filter his thoughts and have the nice, funny, comedic juxtaposition of Tony Schiavone doing MJF promos, but like with his actual voice, and then maybe he could do it and then say, and I'm a big fat piece of I got me with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that would have been far better than this. So that's that out of the way. Action. I mean, Adam Cole at one point didn't get up for the Blue Thunder Bomb. It looked really awkward. I think Takeshita even looked pissed off. Otherwise, I thought he timed the super kick counter to the Takeshita line quite well. And because Takeshita is just godly as a pro wrestler, he just did something he attempted something that he actually does, as opposed to a flying nothing. Very good. Elsewhere, again, it's just not a good Adam Cole match again.
This was badly agented, this match.
Well,
their personalities were stripped from this match big time.
Well, I guess I'm talking from my low standards here.
Yeah.
I thought the kick was good, and that was it, right? There was something else I wanted to point out. The actual, all right, Cole's not going to Full Gear.
Yeah, you said yesterday on the preview.
Well, I'm still going to be a bitch about it. I'm conflicted. I'm split, right? One, it's good because no one believes that Cole's going to beat Takeshita, for one. Cole's not really over as a babyface, for two. The general mood and sentiment is he probably should get his ass kicked by Takeshita, earn the comeback rather than have the comeback inflicted on us. This felt like the plan all along, and not this like not rewarding and listening to fans' feedback. The idea being, I suspect, is that Cole is going to, because they didn't think our Cole's going to look rubbish when he comes back. You know what I mean? When they plotted the story out, the way the Buddy Matthews match happened, they're thinking, people are going to love Cole for selling that ankle, convincing the people that his ankle's busted and drawing them into his fight. They thought it was all going to go well. Obviously, that you don't plan for bad things. So this didn't feel like a reaction, really, which makes me think, they're not trying to tell this really human story with Cole. They're, in fact, delaying all of this, which should never have really been picked up because it was rubbish and it's all gone wrong because of the character alignments that we spoke about at length. They're going to do the World's End to World's End thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because the devil thing happened at World's End.
Of course,
The World's
yeah.
End follows Full Gear. Why would you celebrate that anniversary? Retcon it from existence, if anything. Some split. They've got the opportunity now to get Adam Cole right. That's what this development does. Even if realistically what this development is doing is trying to, and I can't believe I'm saying this, inflate the importance of MJF Cole even more. I mean, don't do that. Just get it over with. Get it over with.
This was a move. We talked about this yesterday. Like, I think they could have been more. They could have had a bit more courage behind their conviction in the booking. Truthfully, I would have had Takeshita be a lot more dominant. I'm not just saying the agent was bad because it didn't go the way I would have liked, which is Takeshita kind of physically have his number throughout. But I just felt like it was a little bit expressionless, especially for a Takeshita match, because he just. You're right to highlight the things that were good about it. He's one of them force of nature wrestlers, isn't he?
I like that bit when he just went, you're not going to Panama Sunrise, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't do a shootout with someone with a broken foot. You know what I mean? I campaigned for this result and wanted it and got it. So I don't think it was for the right reasons.
No, and it still left me, especially after this Dynamite, with a bit of, I don't want to like jump ahead, but like left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, right? Because Adam Cole could not beat Takeshita, and you could buy from this, even though he cheated to win with a Dynamite diamond ring, and that was the MJF involvement. You could still buy from it that he's just not quite ready. But it wasn't the lead story they were going with.
No.
It was 50-50, really.
He got screwed.
Yeah.
It was a back and forth shootout, and he got screwed. In the meantime, Roddy Strong, who's having this high-profile pay-per-view match, quite frankly, right, I'm not talking about the wrestlers, I enjoy the wrestlers.
Yes.
Characters, he's beat some bums on Collision.
Yeah, and
He's beat some designated losers on Collision.
And got a flash win against Lance Archer.
Yeah.
and in order to get Adam Cole to the point where he's
He was a designated jobber.
50-50 near miss against Takeshita, by the way, how have they tried to illustrate that? They've had him beat the House of Black, who then had to win a trios match against jobbers to get the heat back. It's ridiculous, that Collision idea. It was like, we're back, we're as good as we ever were. Like, you're putting them over in this tag tournament as part of the FTR didn't qualify, but the Outrunners did. Again, an interesting booking decision. What are they doing together? How has that happened? How is, like, you need Adam Cole to like look like he's back only to fall at the final hurdle. You got 100 guys to do it with. Like, not the House of Black, who you're going to then feature into a story that exists to sort of tell this FTR Outrunners. That's good, interesting, overlapping storytelling, right? Especially when you're doing Winners Trio, because you're going to put them against Moxley's lot, and then in the meantime, they're also going to qualify for a tag team thing. How have they been the ones designated to lose as first steps in that? Like, that's bad. That's bad booking.
Not to convince me, brother.
No, yeah, I'm not sorry. I'm looking at you. I'm not talking to you. That's bad booking.
You think I am? Drainmaker?
But yeah, like, to see that play out on this show later on, again, another interesting development that you should do. You've undone your good work in two separate stories by having them interact in the first place. Because... And then it does make you go back. I don't want this to turn into a Malachi Black shoot, but this does turn into, so that's why last week happened as it did, because God forbid Malachi Black just take a loss. This to me was categoric proof that the man does not like to lose matches, and he had to have his hero's farewell hug last week because, well, you're winning again this week in big fashion.
Yeah.
Significant back on the pay-per-view.
And guess
fashion.
what? I've got a feeling that maybe Private Party are winning and two of the other teams are taking the fall and not you.
Yeah, because they're the winningest trio. That's what matters to them. And it's...
Yeah, but like Malachi Black, if he gets pinned in this four-way, at Full Gear, I will show my arse in Fennec window.
It's so funny.
Well, looks like my time has come. Hit me with the Predator elbow.
It is time for me to be gin and juiced. It's not going to happen, is it?
No.
Yeah, so good. And then, I'm really bad, actually.
Renee Paquette welcomes the Hurt Syndicate backstage. Love them. Asked Bobby Lashley about his match at Full Gear with Swerve. MVP cuts her off, says, look, puts over Lashley as if he needs to, and asks how it feels to potentially end a young man's career at Full Gear. Lashley said he's going to make an example out of Swerve and is going to hurt him. And they're going to be watching his match against Leo Rush later on tonight as well. Then we see JD Drake stumbling out of the back. No match for him tonight. He's been worn out by an attack using a steel chair by Claudio and Yuta. He was supposed to be fighting, but that's been nixed as Mox and Shafir come out. And they force the cameraman into the ring. Moxley grabs a mic, says he's been thinking about Orange Cassidy for the past few days, how Chuck Taylor's drinking his food through a straw because Cassidy wasn't able to save him. He says Yuta belongs to him because Cassidy wasn't able to save him either. Pressure's building for Full Gear. Cassidy, you're cool as a cucumber. You got your hands in your pockets. I'm going to make an example out of you, says. I'm going to brutalize you. I'm going to stomp your face into hamburger meat so badly that your mother won't even recognize you. Everyone who calls themselves a contender will run and hide, and they'll do whatever the hell they want because they have the power. I'm going to pause here because in amongst all this, there was a go back to Roman heckle because it was deathly silent.
Just one guy, just one town.
I was thinking of Orange Cassidy hamburger meat. I was thinking I could eat 4 of them.
Yeah.
Billy Bear. Orange Cassidy.
I hate Billy Bear meat.
I thought he liked Billy Bear.
Yeah, I know. It should be in my wheelhouse. I don't feel good about that. It's like that luncheon meat stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like bare face shape or not. I do not care for it.
What if it's a dog face?
What if it's the big dog's face and it's like WWE characters? It's the meat.
Well, yeah.
Can it be like chicken instead of the meat? Is that like the fake chicken instead of the fake ham? Is that all right? Can I have that?
I guess.
Yeah, I'll have that then. I like discs of food, but I just don't care for that specific type of meat that they make Billy Bear with.
Just searching WWE hamburger meat just in case.
That might be
James.
James.
Oh, remember when Brian got a promo on that Royal Rumble burger?
That burger looks so good as well.
Oh, God, I know.
Yeah, he stomped on it at the end. You got Earthquake as well, making Quake burgers.
Yeah.
Damien.
Whoa, look at that size of that burger that Braun Strowman. I'm getting distracted. You've got about losing the JD Drake match.
You know what? JD Drake rules.
He's awesome, yeah.
So
But he's been seized.
he has been seized. Right. On all of this, because do we do the good bit after separately?
It's up to you, yeah.
Yeah, well, decision made. Like, how ass backwards is this? Why can't they just do things correctly? Is that not why they have 29 people? A lot of them are big sort of like, allegedly like real continuity, stickler detail guys. What the hell was this? Why can you advertise? Think about this. They have advertised John Moxley interrupting an unadvertised match. You know, like,
Seizing the Superstation, yeah.
Seizing the Superstation. This was Seizing the Superstation. John Moxley makes the spontaneous decision to come out and go, him. Well, we're not seeing this. I'm more important. This is just, I don't know. In the character, you have to use a bit of headcanon as well. We're not letting JD Drake wrestle because he's a bit of a bum. The character, the wrestler, is so awesome if you actually watch some of his sort of like longer form matches elsewhere beyond AEW. But the character is this loser. He loses all the time. No, this is a good time for us to seize the Superstation. We made a promise to the people. We made a promise to the people that we're trying to like overthrow. You know what I mean? Well, we made a promise.
Make our town.
We're making our contractual obligation to the people we're trying to overthrow to seize the Superstation. You know, it's don't advertise them.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it's just...
Or even
why does this music play and Tony Khan's on the headset? Oh, you're great, Marks. Well, actually, Tony, I think you're shit. So much so that I want to burn your company to the ground Excellent. Sounds great. I'll play your music. I mean, I'm glad to play the music in a way because the Death Rider theme is awesome in New Japan.
Yeah.
I've grown to hate it because of the context in which it's in. I remember once, I think it was a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, God, remember how goated Mox's theme was. Mm-hmm. And in a bit of a loser activity, I was like, it's not on, I was in the mood to listen to it. But I was like, it's not on Spotify. I don't like listening to YouTube music when I'm commuting because you have to hold your phone out like a dickhead. Mm-hmm. So I was like, and I was going to staying late at the...
Although people might enjoy watching podcasts on commute, and that's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Do that.
That is cool. That's cool. So I was like, I really want to listen to that. I was like, I've got to get home and see the kids. But they were out. So I was going to be a little bit later than I thought. I was like, it was like a nice hot sweltering summer's day as well. Got in, made a margarita.
I like doing that when I get home from work sometimes.
Same.
Window open. Just put it up to 50 on the volume.
Oh!
Volume 50. As I was in the mood to just listen to it, just bang.
Picturing the panes of glass smashing.
Bliss this. And now I don't like it.
Yeah, well, you're right. What they should have done, even because people would have raised their eyebrows if last night they dropped a graphic of, J.D. Drake versus
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
Make
so
it
spot on.
feel like you're disrupting, you're seizing something, you're ruining something.
Because all you'd have to take is, if people might try and dunk on them, be like, why are you advertising, again, love J.D. Drake.
Yeah.
Why are you advertising J.D. Drake on this episode of Dynamite? But then in 2 hours, they go, that makes sense. That was really clever, actually.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't say, next week on Dynamite, Anna Jay's looking good. Guess she's gonna. Let's hope no one bad comes along and beats her.
It's the worst. It's the most dog shit NWO angle since the last one they tried to do a few months ago. Like, it felt like, Nitro's falling apart. This broadcast is untenable. They've bloody ruined it. Shivani's losing his mind. And that worked because they went 2 feet with it. They put 1 foot in this, and it's just a total load of crap. Contrived. You can pick it apart. They haven't committed. Anyway, advertise the JD Drake match. Or do you know what might be an even better idea? If you actually think about this stuff for 2 seconds. Advertise a match, and I know they don't like to false advertise. Guess what? If you false advertise and you pin the blame on the character, anyone with a fucking brain in their head, and people have brains in their head, and you should respect that, anyone with a brain in their head would think, right, okay, well, this is a work. It's not the Vince McMahon thing of, you'll get this on Raw next week. And no, you won't, and I don't care. It's not that.
Yes, exactly.
If you put, and I don't know, someone who's a little bit tangentially connected to this, Daniel Garcia in a match against JD Drake. JD Drake comes out for it. Then they do this angle. It's like, and then don't do your little cutesy Mox seizes the Superstation graphic, okay? Because then it just looks totally contrived. And then Garcia's like, what the fuck? And then Moxley's like, you think you were going to win or something? Then you can have Daniel Garcia build the case for, I need to get at these, because he's been conspicuous by his absence.
It doesn't matter, Daniel Garcia. It's only the undercard. He could even say that with the reference to...
Maybe, yeah.
Bit of a counter to that. They've been doing this thing where Moxley's crew ruins matches, and I think rightfully been, that's heat on the booker, that's not heat on the characters. So
but for someone you care about,
that's a mid-match thing.
They did private party before
that.
They did private party before their push. No one cares about that.
Yeah.
They did. You're meant to care about the match that you're going to see.
Yeah.
And if you get the thing taken away, it feels like they've done a transgression.
It's Austin stopping that Brett Sid match, and them having to try and get it started 3 times on a Raw, and Steve Austin is just rabid for Brett, and he's like, I don't care about you stink. I want to kill him. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. There's doing it incorrectly yet again. Although Cassidy. Sometimes, not all the time, I do genuinely think he's great. Sometimes Orange Cassidy is theoretically a better character than he is. The whole idea is he never fires up. When he fires up, it's magic. Like when he fired up on behalf of Chris Statlander, All Out 2021, magic. You think, because it's time for him to cut the big go-home promo, and he never does that. He must really care, and it's going to be electrifying. It's that basic, simple psychology, but the psychology of a promo of like, if you sequence it in such a way, it's really going to matter when he does it. It never really feels like that for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe it did last year. That I don't have a catchphrase last year. It was good. I don't really think it's iconic. looking back at all the other big AEW moments, that's not really up there. It's always like, that little guy hasn't done anything yet. Yeah. You always think it's going to be this big, huge moment when Orange Cassidy tries, and it usually is. Promos, not so much. It never really clicks with me that much, and that's a bit of an issue when this is the main event program of your upcoming pay-per-view. Moxley, the hamburger meat threat, felt like he didn't have anything funnier to say and didn't really work to have anything better. It's one of his lamer. He has these big sort of visual images, these threats in the mind's eye. I think, oh God, if he does that to him, in my head, that looks horrible and grisly. One of his poorer efforts. It was better when Claudio was involved. I will say, Wheeler Yuta going, not a pawn. Claudio, shut up. I think I like Claudio the most out of the Death Riders.
Yeah.
Yeah, in amongst all this, I should say, Cassidy came out and said it's all about what's in the briefcase, the symbol of AEW, the world title, everything pro wrestling can be. You can fight all over the place. The only way to win the title is by wrestling. I've wrestled the most out of anyone. I beat you before on Mox. I'll do it again. Cassidy talks about Mox playing chess, and he's going to remove pawn so he can take the king. He's going to wrestle Wheeler Yuta. I guess the pawn line was nice with the Yuta. Shut up.
Added pawn back in later as well.
Moxley says, let's see if you've got the guts to pull the trigger on Wheeler next week. Come full gear, Moxley has one message to anyone who wants what he's got. Abandon all hope. They go to leave, and then Darby Allin leaps off a balcony onto all of them. The big
that was good.
Off, and they go to bail in the truck, leaving behind Wheeler Yuta. But Darby Allin leaps onto the bed of the truck and starts fighting with Claudio. Claudio, who picks up Darby Allin and giant swings him into a garage door, jumps back in the truck. And I'll be honest, I think this was coincidentally Wheeler Yuta's just back in time to jump in.
He's like, go now.
They were not waiting around for him, were they?
That Darby Claudio thing was so unbelievably tits. The chemistry, even though they had the match last week, this was a much better glimpse of the potential match. It's on Dynamite next week. I'm like, for once, I thought, you know what? Put that on the tape. I'm never campaigning for more matches on these AEW pay-per-views. Jesus Christ, not for a long time. I thought that could do with it. If Darby's going to be a guy, you want to legitimize Claudio, and in little ways you can legitimize talent. One of them is big singles matches on pay-per-view. You get a certain perception of those wrestlers. Claudio doesn't really get them. And you want these Death Riders to be like the biggest force in town. Should have put that on the paper, really. I might step it up in a rematch for now. You always speak too soon sometimes. The nature of this podcast.
And indeed this business.
In this business.
I
know the story.
I like the stuff here that is them moving the Death Riders in the direction they need to move, which is just to be the top heel stable du jour, and even that might be a tricky thing with the Hurt Syndicate, but they are still in this like really awkward, like gooey middle from when they were supposed to be taking over the company. Everything that we were just critical of there with the JD Drake is as relevant as the praise that you can afford to them. Like this was a week John Moxley and his crew almost tried to do a scream, and that's like, you know, in terms of you getting away and showing a bit of ass and like revealing yourselves to be like as much what you hate as what you profess yourself to be, especially Moxley. Like, that's good. That's an important step in the direction for the long-standing success of this Moxley character, for the Death Riders, a heel stable. But
the Butcher and Satnam Singh and John Silver don't care anymore, do they?
No, nobody cares. This is the thing, like, and this is why you've got to get them to there. And now we are left with the kind of remains of that few week period when they were supposed to be taking over AEW, and now it's in the form of seasoned JD Drake. It's rubbish, and it really undermines the messaging.
I knew from the start that they weren't going to do it like this.
Yeah, and it's like this, I don't know if it's a pivot or whatever, but it's the right direction they're going in. But it's going to take some, like...
I'm going to take a little time.
Like, and a victory over Orange.
A little time to think things over.
Time to get this over. We're
dickheads, I know.
Yeah. It's you could have probably done, everyone's got a degree in hindsight, you probably could have done with 3 months of this to get Moxley to the world title rather than give him it first.
I've got a degree in creative writing.
Because you've got like they're doing the fundamental number one rule of making the belt seem like the power. Belt is if Orange Cassidy gets this belt, then what? John Moxley can't turn up in a van to work and beat up JD Drake, but he can. Like, they're kind of breaking their own rules all the time.
Been really looking forward to this JD Drake match.
It's just, at the moment, you don't buy that the belt and the briefcase and everything is the thing that will stop all this. And then you're also going, what is all this? Because what it was one segment of television followed by an otherwise completely normal and undisturbed Dynamite. Yeah. And I'm not asking for Johnny Hungy and Nunchuck's back. I am not.
I'm asking for none of it, really.
Yeah, I think that's, maybe. These as heels, I think it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And the Learning Tree is backstage with Renee Paquette. Good news, he's not on the paper for now. He's fighting Tomohiro Ishii for the ROH title in a couple of weeks' time. Talks about their history together. When Ishii was a young boy who carried his bags and washed his back in the shower. Talks about their match, which I forgot was the one where his tit bleeded.
Incredible. It was incredible.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, he says... he's gone on to bigger and better things than Nueve, the ROH champion, of course. He mentions Jay Briscoe. Brian Keith says Jericho's going to blow Ishii's dumb ass away.
I mean, it's desperately scrambling to go through your greatest hits to get over. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, I just don't care about the match.
Nah, it might be all right.
But the
first one was great.
The other thing that's happening in 2 weeks is the Continental Classic coming back, which is very exciting. And then it is time for... Sorry, just checking my notes here. The only women's match on the show. It was Penelope Ford versus Dr. Britt Baker. Early on, Britt Baker's in control, of course. Ford takes a powder, gets out of there, tries a bit of cat and mouse, sweeps out Baker's legs and nails her in the face. But there's a springboard double knees to put her in control during the commercial. We come back. Ford tries the handspring forearm, but Baker blocks it into a flatliner into the corner. There's a sling blade from Baker, but she goes for corner punches. Ford slips out and drops her face first into the buckle. I really like Penelope Ford's matrix into the cutter that she did.
First one more than this one. This didn't go as well.
Took a second, yeah. I like the concept, I suppose.
Long old second.
It took a little time.
Ford goes for a moonsault, but Baker moves, hits a thrust kick and a spinning neck breaker.
I do like the move, but it's obviously, takes two to make it work.
She sets up for the lockjaw, but Ford drop kicks her from behind and puts her in the motor lock, but Baker escapes and lockjaws her to get the submission victory. Post-match, Serena Deeb comes out on the stage and trash talks. Baker looks directly down the camera lens and says, "No one cares."
Why don't you work with somebody else then? You know what I mean?
Like she said it over and over again.
She said it over and over and over and over and over again. Well, what a great way to build a match. Why is there no match with Jamie Hayter, or why is there no reunion with Jamie Hayter? You know, I mean, beggars can't be choosers. Don't look down on the I don't know. I don't know what. Sick of the story surrounding Britt Baker. I'm sick of not knowing what's going on. I'm sick of not being able to invest. There are apparent reasons why there's been no sort of continuation of the Jamie Hayter team alliance. The idea all along, and they've built it since August 2021 on the debut edition of Rampage, was, all right, so she's the heater, and we know how this works. 1, 2, 3 years' time, they're going to have a big match in Fuad. Oh, what a waste of time. So if that isn't happening, and it's not anyone's fault, why I just do that match? And you cannot, if the stories are true, look at Serena Deeb, who allegedly is one of the people who will happily do business with you, and then go, "Oh, you boring bitch." You know, you can't do that.
No.
If you don't want people to think that you are a problem. You know what I mean? You cannot do this. The match was poor again.
Yeah.
The match was hardly must-see again. I mean, look, I don't know.
They might get 3 and 3.
True. You don't know the stories, if they're true, but, you know, so much smoke that my eyes are starting to burn. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're starting to itch, they're starting to get red. There's so much smoke that, you know, I can't actually see anything.
That wasn't fog on the time this morning.
No. It was the smoke attached to this bloody fire. Smoke on the fire is all right, all right. Shut up, man. Here's something. So, poor Serena Deeb. She's actually really good.
Yeah.
Well, this is a rematch. They've had this match that some people actually liked.
Yeah.
You know, and like,
no one cares, mate. No one cares. Say, for example, right, you know when you're watching something and think, all right, it's getting a bit messy. I'll pick some things up around your house. Or, you know, the cat wants your attention. Oh, and then you can, in the background, you know that the thing you're still watching is still on.
Mm.
But let's just say you're drowning out the commentary. You're not listening to that part of it. Parts of your brain can detect that there's still some activity, but you say, the cat's come out to say hello. Or, I'm just going to, you know, have a piss. I can hear it in the background. Or I'm just going to tidy up a little bit. That's actually annoying us before the kids. You would have no idea in 1 million years if maybe they did a wide shot or a crowd shot. In a million, I've never heard an anti-pop like this in my entire f***ing life. Then when Serena Deeb came out for this, it was as if she doesn't exist.
was she even there?
I cannot fathom the lack of reaction she got.
Yeah.
How good can she be if she can't inspire any noise or emotion? Obviously, technically, all of her stuff looks great. You start to question how good is Serena Deeb really?
She's never taken as a top challenger or anything.
It's so odd. People not remember the bloody Riho match.
Yeah,
the Double or Nothing. Like that was loud as balls. It was really. I mean, I know it was like
most of the Karashida feud. Like the matches were great. Like she was such.
Why do people hate her so much? I mean, I know she's boring.
Yeah,
I know it's probably.
I
know, but I don't think that's the reason.
No, I don't either. I think there's been a weird failure to connect when it's really counted, and I mean, far be it for me to say that sometimes matches don't matter, but I think sometimes matches don't matter, and plenty of hers evidently don't matter anymore. There's never been a lasting impression left. She left a huge one with me for a period, definitely. 2021. Like you could not take your eyes off her matches. The level of detail she was.
It's almost an Attitude Era ago.
Yeah,
it's almost
yeah.
Is it also on Britt then to be like, well, she's not got reaction, but I'm going to be like, I'm going to kick your ass, not go. No one cares.
Well, yes.
When you need button for the soundboard, have you got Instagram Reels? And I think it's like a TikTok thing as well. Have you seen like Dollar Slice Daily, where you know these Instagram Reels pages have got the same thing but just every single day, and it's just this guy interviewing the denizens of New York City. Go, what you hear about the $1.50 slices? And like the person he's interviewing goes, actually, you know, I'm gluten intolerant, so I don't know anything about being. What a f***ing nightmare. So I want the what a f***ing nightmare button for things like this.
But yes, Wilborn, to answer your question, wrestling is a work.
Nobody cares. Well, don't. Hang on, you didn't quite catch that one on camera. I know you had the camera on hand. Nobody cares.
She's the babyface as well. Not that you should do this as a heel either.
Yeah.
What a f***ing nightmare. You know what I mean? I'm sick of this. Get Bill Watson.
But
they need someone, obviously not him. He's 8 years old and, you know, probably shouldn't
call a cowboy.
Yeah, he's a, you know, pretty bad dude as well. Yeah. Get someone like Bill Watson. Get Graham Souness in.
He likes her in his plant your flag.
But as I said, Sage, that was just the single women's match on this show. We have to get to the aim of the game before that, though. We have to get to the name of the game.
No, we have to, bro.
No, the other way around. Name of the game before that, the aim of the game.
The aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first woman to emerge for the only women's match on Dynamite, with the idea being that, and they're doing it quite often in recent weeks, goddammit, that they kind of do it in a suspicious part of the show where you're thinking, hang on, why have they put the only women's match in this particular slot? They don't seem to care much about it. Why do they bother doing it at all? And then you think to yourself, hang on, a pattern has emerged here. It's always just before the thing you're meant to think is important. The idea being, well, they wouldn't put it at the start of the show. They wouldn't put it in the middle of the show unless they do. But they tend to put it at the end, with the idea being, at least in my opinion, well, we have to put the birds on, don't we? The Wokes will bloody kick off if we don't put the birds on. It's like, nah, but the birds. Yeah, but here's the thing. If you put them on just before the real action, the main event, then you can basically communicate to the fans It's all right, man. It's all right. Don't worry about it. The main event's coming on. We'll have to do this. Understand, it's 2024. We'll have to do it. If you just do it now and do it bloody quickly, you get some tits in a second, so look out for that. And the main event will come, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about too much of this. Don't worry, but we'll have to do it. Mouthful, yeah? I'm going to jingleize it for you. This is my jingleization of what I perceive to be that cynical thought process. Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. That's the aim of the game. And the name of the game is, well, this is ladies' night, and I'm thinking, oh, not another one. Sick of it. Free me from this hell.
Shout out to Panda Blair.
By putting, like, good wrestling instead of, Adam Cole.
Adam Blair at Adam Wilton 4 on X, and Jose Palomares at the Ho 11. The guys who always take care of the
data,
this sort of thing. Thank you. So, Sige, what was our guesses on the preview yesterday for this? Unsurprisingly, the women's match in the second hour.
Our guesses. Hamlet, you got 2 minutes left before you got to cheese it.
Scream.
In descending order, and he's... I'm not going to be a dickhead. Michael Sidgwick, 0 hours, 34 minutes and 17 seconds. Michael Hamflett, 1 hour, 18 minutes and 18 seconds. Adam Wilborn, I don't know you from Adam, 1 hour, 22 minutes and 30 seconds.
1:22:30, of course, because Britt Baker was in action. And it was 1 hour, 13 minutes and 45 seconds. A win for Michael Hamflett. All he needs to do is win every week from between now until Christmas, and he's got a chance of winning Ladies' Night.
How pleased you are with yourself.
Yes. Right, let's move on, because I want to know your thoughts on what came next.
It was you. You.
That's good humour.
Who came next?
That's a good spunk stuff.
Mina's coming. She's here, in fact. Renee Paquette is backstage with her. She says she's missed Mariah May so much she can't wait for the champagne celebration with her when she defeats Anna Jay on Collision. And then... oh, my God. Here comes Harley Cameron. She grabs the glass of champagne, pounds it, and says, some people are saying Mina Shirakawa is the Harley Cameron of Japan. And she challenges Mina Shirakawa to a match on Collision. She says, tit for tit, rack 'em up, may the breast woman win. Oh, my God. And Mina responds by saying, I'll see you on Saturday. I'll see you on Saturday. Renee's like, I'll see you on Saturday.
Did you better press that button?
Haunting audio, by the way, for those that don't watch this. Just the way you... I'll see you on Saturday.
You pressed the button by mistake, or...?
No, I thought it was really entertaining. I thought it was a really entertaining segment.
It's weird, like... I just assumed that you...
What are your favourite 4 things about it, Adam?
How did you understand half of what they were saying? I was assuming, Wilbon's going to thought they misspoke over and over again.
It was tit for tat, yeah.
No, but did he have to, like, rewind it a few times just to get the
I wanted to
nuances?
make sure I got it, spot on here.
How many times did you rewatch it?
5 times.
Here's my actual take on it, if you're interested. It seems like they enjoy this sort of material and performing it. It didn't feel like a bloke has went, go on there.
No.
Do your little
Harley
turn.
Cameron's great.
She's getting over. She's maximising her seconds and her minutes. Mina Shirakawa is just fantastic across the board. She's got absolutely unbelievable live show charisma. We know this. And, This was memorable and people liked it.
Yeah.
You're a big fan, Wilborn, yeah?
Big fan of this one. Swerve Strickland versus Leo Rush came next.
Couldn't press that button any harder, could you?
Broke my finger.
The other hand's broken as well, so...
That's just sore. Swerve, they trade some corkscrews, counters in the ropes. Rush, I'm going to try again to do this. I often trip myself up with this when I try and use just his surname.
Leo Rush.
Rush tries a springboard. Swerve dodges it.
Basically, that doesn't matter.
Rush backflips.
You're the fan WWE were worried about all those years.
Rush backflips to the floor. Swerve flips out, and there's a nice stare down between the two of them.
Oh, Gregory Helm, thank God. Seeing him and Shane McMahon, I was like, what? Two of them?
Strickland wanted a Swerve stomp, but Rush did a handspring into the ropes, crotching Strickland, sending him outside as they go to a break. When we come back, they're fighting on the apron. Swerve hits a big boot, rolls back into the ring with a suplex. There's a diving uppercut to the back of Rush, but he comes back with a misdirect Spanish fly for 2. He tried a leaping Hurricane Rana off the announce table. Swerve tried to counter that into a powerbomb, but Rush leapt out onto the steps and hit a poison Rana.
That looked great.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Good struggle behind that as well.
Rush, as they go back in, hits a frog splash for a 2 count. There's a bounce back stunner from Swerve, who wants big pressure, but Rush rolls through into a pin and holds the ropes. Prince Nana points this out, though. Tries for another poison Rana, but this time Strickland grabs him and nails him with big pressure for the 1, 2, 3.
I liked the finish. I've been really critical of the finishes, the match finishes in AEW of late. It just feels like they've just gone, it just feels like a sudden, gotta get to the finish. But they don't really flow into themselves particularly well, these finishes. This one was great. Tries to do the move again. Nope, I'm wise to it. Bang. An actual great execution as well. So it made sense from one sort of sequence to the next. The thing about this match is I don't even think in front of a great white-hot capacity crowd that this is amazing. This is very much one of those matches where you think about a Dynamite. You're like, oh God, that opener was so hot. That main event was great, and I was really worried that I wasn't going to live up to my expectations, and it did. And he got like that promo, and he got Swerve and Leo as well, and a nice little 3-3. It's a gentleman's 3 against this backdrop. It is.
Yeah, I did really enjoy this for what it was, but you couldn't help think what else it could have been. Another night, maybe a bit more.
We are taking off at least a 1.5 stars on every match on Dynamite these days because of how bleak the atmosphere is.
And to be absolutely fair as well, because I've got to bail in a minute, unfortunately, but like I will just say the fact that they kept Leo Rush out of what came afterwards leads you further in thinking that the union or the reunion with Bobby Lashley is coming. Running this back with the clearer heel babyface dynamic and more story than they've currently got, while still having this like a little bit of Mirror Man, as we said, followed by Swerve, kind of just taking it to a level beyond Leo Rush. Like more heated, a bit more drama. I think you could do a rematch that could be even better than this. And I thought this was a real strong start for it. And the match was really good, and it means I don't have to say anything nasty about Swerve because then he kind of the atmosphere after that. So see you later, guys.
Thanks, Humphrey. Yeah, let's talk post-match, Sige, because Swerve grabs the mic and says, now he's back, everyone wants to use his equity and his accolades to make a statement. Leo Rush tried tonight. Shelton tried a few weeks ago. He has to keep reminding people whose house it is. While their match is at Full Gear, he wants to fight right here tonight in Stamford. They were in Bridgeport. He calls out Bobby Lashley. The Hurt Syndicate's music hits. Out comes MVP and Lashley. The crowd are chanting, "This is Bridgeport," throughout all this, which kind of ruins the whole thing. MVP says, well, if you want to fight with a Hurt Syndicate member, all you have to do is ask. Lashley takes his jacket off.
Oh, my God.
I thought he was going to take his shirt off.
Nah, he's waiting, man.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
But MVP says there's strength.
It's literal striptease.
Yeah, there's strength.
Earnestly.
Strength in numbers. And Shelton Benjamin attacks Swerve from behind and chucks him outside at the feet of Bobby Lashley, who sends him repeatedly into the barricade. And then Shelton's just stood there, not holding Prince Nana. Just go on, try something.
I like that.
And then Lashley went and killed him as well, sent him into the post. Bunch of bastards, aren't they? And I love them.
A decent, if simplistic, idea that Swerve's flub just kind of ruined.
Yeah.
He wasn't politicking to do something bad. It was just a mistake. Didn't need one on this night. You don't need one when you're the thing that a lot of people are clinging on to. Is AEW still good? And then you make that error. It's catching almost, isn't it?
Renee's in the back with Jamie Hayter. Asks her what's next for her. She's going to continue to do what she said she would, right the wrongs. For now, though, she's thinking about one thing, but we don't get to hear what that is because she's cut off by a Julia Hart vignette. She's in bed, she's got blood on her shirt, and then the phone rings. It's Brody King, but the phone's not connected. He tells her it's time to come home. She tries to clean the blood off her shirt, but it won't come out. And then she opens up a closet, and there's the House of Black outfit, hat, walks to the mirror, screams, steps out the window.
It's well done. Not my type of thing.
I was annoyed we didn't get to hear more from Jamie Hayter.
But the idea was they're going to have a match.
Yeah.
I don't know who wins that, though. I do like that as a story progression. Maybe Hayter wins, and whatever form Julia Hart takes coming out of these vignettes, she can just do the job and think, I probably need a change in direction, actually. So maybe she comes back as the heel, but these vignettes are telling you she's going to lose. The heel thing's not for her. She's going to be back to being Julia Hart.
If you're about to lose, though, just say, I accept my fate, obviously, in a singles match.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'd rather lose this, if anything.
Is it losing if I've let you win?
Yeah.
It's like my mate.
I'll let you win.
It's like my mate.
It's honestly the most Malachi Black as a child.
Malachi Black. Here it is. Malachi Black is my mate from uni, James. You know who you are. Who didn't ever bother me. Always wound up. You've met my mate Ben before. Always wound him up so much. So, it's uni. We're doing some work, but we're mainly just playing FIFA and, doing other things that rhyme with that as well. And playing FIFA, competitive, we're all sort of on a similar level. And Ben, let's say, grabs a late winner to make it 2-1. And you're like, well, what a hard-fought contest that was. You're not going to remember it 2 minutes after you turn the PlayStation off, but you're going to win. James playing 4D chess over here. Did you win? Because he didn't turn the PlayStation off. That's the coward's way out. He'd kick off, pass it to his midfield, to his defender, to his goalkeeper, run it in his net. Well, you won 6-1, but I scored loads of own goals at the end. So was that really a win, or did I just sort of let you?
That's Malachi Black.
That's Malachi Black.
Just take it like a man.
Yeah. Ben used to get so wound up. It was funny, to be honest. It was that, or another good way to wind him up was when he'd play with my mate Sparky. If Ben would be through, you just sat there watching, and then doing a bit of not commentary.
Yeah.
They say, I can't bloody pass today or whatever. I'm just watching, and
I used to rage me, as
Yeah.
you can imagine.
Ben goes through, shoots, goalkeeper saves it, or it goes wide. Just occasionally, I'd drop in just under my breath, yes, like that. What was that? Oh my God, is that Private Party? Out there,
Another variant of that.
Oh.
Hacking all the players so that they would get sent off. It's like, you didn't best me.
Yeah, game's been called off.
The game's been called off.
You didn't beat me in 90 minutes, did you?
Yeah, so the idea was if you got enough of your players sent off, they would just have to abandon the game.
They'd almost start running away from your players who are just trying to get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
Class. I miss those days. Private Party come out for the main events.
Kids old enough, you can relive them. I played James at FC 24 on that.
Did you?
It's not quite the same vibe. And I'll tell him to go himself if he scores past his. It's class though when he start really taking the piss. And then they have tantrums. It's funny.
I had one a while back, went to one of my losers' mate's house who's got a kid, and he's obviously, in the gap since last seeing him, he's got shoot really good at FIFA.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, let's have a game. Go on, Harris, fire it up. And I'm doing, the classic, taking it seriously me. I was like, yeah. And then you nutmeg one of my defenders and scored. And I was like, what are we doing here? What's this? I'm trying seriously now. And because that was it initially, I thought I'll just he's, I can't remember how old he is, 8 or whatever. I'll just let him win. And he scored a goal, and then I was like, oh no, because I was like, why is my defender slide tackling in the wrong direction?
Yeah.
And then he scored another goal and did a shush celebration for it by a sue. And I was like, right, well, no, we're going to do that then. We'll have a proper game. Oh, look at it. It's 8-2. What happened there? You're a grown man. I know what you're doing. FTR having an old sip of the old drink before their tag team match against the previously retired Malachi Black and Brody King. Kings of the Black Throne. I really wound up on the Q&A about Malachi Black.
He's annoyed a lot of people.
Yeah, it's out tomorrow. Wheeler makes a blind tag. Harwood suckers Black into a chase, and Wheeler hits him with a lariat, and they do the mocking of the seated post, take us to a break. When we come back, Malachi's fighting his way out of trouble. Hot tag to Brody King. It's always hot when it's Brody King getting the tag. Runs wild. But in the end, Cash Wheeler catches him on top, and they hit that powerbomb top rope combo, do FTR. And Malachi pulls Wheeler outside and sends him into the steps. There's a pop-up knee lift from Black to Harwood. There's a moonsault to the floor onto Wheeler as well, and Harwood gets flattened by a huge powerbomb for a nice near fall by Brody King. All breaks down. Black gets sent back outside. King gets sent into the corner. FTR want the powerplex. The superplex hits, but Brody King gets his knees up, and that allows Malachi Black to fly off the top with a double stomp on Dax Harwood for 2. Attempt at Dante's Inferno, but Wheeler saves his partner and sent King into Black. They hit the Shatter Machine, but doesn't do the job. Black pulls Harwood to the outside. They hit a spike pile driver on Malachi Black, but King's there to dive onto both of them. Huge King Kong lariat to Dax Harwood, multiple times, in fact. That gets several near falls. King can't believe that's not the finish, but he just lifts up Dax Harwood and then chokes the life out of him to get the victory, which was a rather surprising result for what we thought. Post-match, there's a nice show of respect as Private Party watch on and see another one of their challenges for Full Gear confirmed. So it's now Private Party, Outrunners, and the Kings of the Black Throne.
I was chuffed with this result. I thought the actual execution of it was amazing. Dax Harwood had that choked face. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Brody King just looks like an absolute behemoth of a bloke again. I thought the match, again, you put this move for move in front of a 2021 or 2022 crowd even, and it's like a star and a half better, a full star and a half better. I thought they did a really, really good job of trying really hard, but not too hard, to create that drama, like in the sense of desperation towards the end, where like the push away from Malachi Black's pile driver attempt, that dive through the ropes from Brody King was special. It looked amazing. It looked like they were fighting for their lives in there to really get this shot. The finish looked great. Again, just a star and a half if the atmosphere is anything. And I love the result and the booking implications, because after that Private Party speed run, I'd already given up with the tag team division before that. That speed run just didn't really feel earned. Starting to think about it now. They're really starting to think about, especially on the FTR side of things. Like, I thought there would be a sort of in the match itself at Full Gear, FTR and Outrunners. Well, we're pals, we'll work together to a bit, and then, you've kind of screwed us there. Let's have a bit of a match within a match, and then tease the actual split. Now, if you're FTR, you're thinking, they were mates, but Outrunners run this match, and we're not. Like, let's face it, they're a joke, and that'll just strengthen their resolve and determination, go back to the heel side. A really bold result. Really bold result. Well done for FTR for agreeing to that pitch. Like, losing in the right way can really matter. It should really sort of propel their heel turn. We have some fun with Deputy Dax, but, I think he's done great business here. For the business.
Yeah, really good end to the show.
Almost saved it.
Let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section below, or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Why should they can follow all three of us? You can follow Michael Hamflett at... You can follow Michael Sidgwick at... M. Sidgwick. You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow our brilliant producer at It's Adam Nicholas. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But for now, this has been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.